I'm muted, so you probably didn't hear me saying hello to you. Hello, Lucera, welcome. Thank you for being the first one to join this evening. We have a few people that have signed up, and I'd like to just give a little grace. So I'm going to wait maybe a few minutes for people to trickle in before I start the presentation. Hi, Kiana. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
I was just telling Lucero, and I hope that's how you pronounce your name, that there's a handful of people who signed up tonight. I do understand that 7 could be people's dinner time or their commute time, or maybe they're um, doing whatever at home time. So I just like to give a little grace and let people trickle in. So we'll officially get started at 7:05. Oh, I just saw your message, Lucero. No worries. Take your time coming on camera or unmuting yourself. Yeah. And this session is recorded, so for the people who are turning to the party, they can watch it at their leisure. I do, or if even if one of you have to leave early, I do email the link to everybody who registered, or the video link to everyone who registered, so you can watch it at your leisure, just in case you have to hop off early. Okay, it's 7:05, so we'll get started. Well, welcome. My name is Lisa. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening learning about Lesbifriends travel and the upcoming travel opportunities we have. Very excited to share with you some of the upcoming trips, also just explain the group, and so you can get a feel of the energy that you'll experience on the trips, as well as learn more about you as individuals, who you are, and what things you like to do when you travel. I'm always, my mind is always working, so I'm always thinking of the next place to go. I already have a good list for 2026 of trips that I'm planning. So I'd love to hear more about you guys when you do introductions, and the places you like to go as well. Yay, Lucira's on camera. Well, hi, welcome. So I do like to do a quick introduction icebreaker, so that the group can get to know one another. You might be traveling with one another on a trip, And so it's just nice to know who's in the room, in the virtual room. So I'm going to leave in the group chat, the things that I would like us to share on our introduction. I'll go first because I like to lead by example. Um, and then I'll let everyone volunteer to go next if you can, if you are able to unmute yourself. If not, and you're still able to, and you still want to participate in the introduction virtual icebreaker, please include it in the group chat so people can read it, and I'll even read it out loud for you. You do not have to be on camera during the session. It is only shared internally, so you know you will only, so you will only be seen by the people who signed up for the information session. But of course, I would love to see your face. So if you do, if you can, get on camera, bonus. Okay. So my name is Lisa. My pronouns are she, her. I am originally from Massachusetts. I can't say I'm from Boston because I didn't grow up in Boston. I grew up like 30 minutes south of Boston, but I guess I typically claim Boston because that's the closest major city. I am calling from Washington, D.C., which has been my home for the last 20 years, almost a full 20 years. I moved here in 2005. And if I could teleport anywhere in the world right now for a weekend trip, yes, so I don't have to worry about getting there. That's good. I feel like it's not quite enough time, but I would go to really enjoy the location. But I really have been dying to go to Iceland, and I feel like you can do that trip in like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. So that's where I would teleport myself to for a long weekend. Actually, yeah, we're gonna make it a long weekend because Monday is Veterans Day. So at bonus, I get to stay one more day. So okay, who would like to go next?
I can go next. Everyone, just settle. I use she, her, they, them pronouns. Let me see the questions. I am originally, um, I was born in Mexico, raised in Texas, and I currently live in LA. I've been here for 10 years. And if I could teleport anywhere in the world for a weekend trip, I've always wanted to go to Italy, so I would just go there and probably eat a lot of pasta, walk around, check out the architecture, and um, yeah, I think that would be my plan.
Oh, that sounds like a great weekend trip. All right, I'm gonna steal yours as my second choice. Thank you for thank you for sharing that with us. Kiana or Tiffany, would you like to go next? Oh, Kiana unmuted. Thank you. Yourself.
Yeah, I can go. Hi, I'm Kiana. Pronouns are she, her. I am originally from Washington, D.C., and I am calling from Washington, D.C. I have not left. If I could teleport anywhere, it's a toss-up between Japan or South Korea right now.
Option. Yeah, and then you definitely save yourself the hassle of all of the flights involved. That's pretty dope. Thank you, Kiana. Okay, so I'm looking in the group chat. Tiffany is involved in a very serious Scrabble game. I'm not mad at you. I hope you're winning. And I'll just introduce you to the group. Tiffany is originally from Texas and based in Maryland right now. And if Tiffany could go anywhere right now, it would be an island off the coast of Africa. I hope that, I mean, there are some to choose from, but I'm just gonna put in a plug for the island where my family is from and say you should go to Cape Verde. Well, there are a group of islands, but you should go to Cape Verde because it's a lesser known hidden treasure, and you will have a great experience there. And I might plan a trip there in the next couple of years. So anyway, thank you. Welcome everyone. Thank you. Those were great introductions. I really appreciate you letting me learn more about you. I am going to share my screen in a moment or two. But I did want to open it up to the group. I figure, you know, we live in a democracy. I should let the group make the decisions, right? So I pre-selected some places to present this evening. And selfishly, like I kind of just wanted to present them because I haven't presented them yet, like they're new trips. But I do realize that there's probably like a trip or two that caught your eye. And so I would rather share with you information about a specific trip destination that you're interested in rather than me talking about one that nobody might not be interested in, excuse me. So at this juncture, when you see it, you might be interested, but so I'm gonna let people throw in the chat, 2 or 3 places that they are most interested in hearing about. I can also refer to, the list that what you filled out when you registered or when you signed up for the information session, but that could have changed because some people might have signed up for this like a few weeks ago, and then since then a new trip has come out. So I'll let you guys put in the chat while I load up my screen where a place or two that you might want to learn about on this information session. I don't have a list typed out, but I can actually. I can recite it, but some of the places I'll just list them off really quickly and then just to refresh your memory, and then you could throw it in the chat. Thank you, Tiana. Okay, Japan and South Africa. So next year we're going to, well, this year we have one more trip. If anybody wants to hear about Belize, I'm happy to share more information about that. That's only in a month. So you know, a quicker turnaround time, but we're also going to Brazil, Nicaragua, Colombia, Italy, Bali. We're doing a adults only cruise to the Caribbean with Virgin Voyages. Cabo San Lucas, Morocco. We're doing a local domestic summer glamping trip to a place called River Mountain in Pennsylvania. We're also going to Costa Rica, Egypt and Jordan, Japan, and then South Africa. So if any of those pique your interest, feel free to throw them in the chat and I will specifically present those trips specifically. But you can, even if I don't present a trip, you can also just ask a question about that trip as well. I typically share 5 trips per information session. So we got room for 3 more outside of Japan and South Africa. So I will pull up, maybe we should go backwards. And I am sorry, I fibbed. I cannot present South Africa, but I will present, yes, I'll present at least one of those. Those are the most recent trips that I released. So I'm actually in the process of creating the specific information session. So I guess I spoke a little bit too soon. But definitely I can present one of the ones you included. Okay, all right. I'm gonna try to go in order. So Nicaragua is actually the first. On the list of where we're going next year based out of what Kiana and Tiffany have put in the chat. So I will start off by sharing information on those trips. Okay. If you just bear with me, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. So I do like to start, of course, I'm going to get into all the details about the trip, but I do like to just share some background information so you know who you are potentially going to be spending your hard-earned dollars with to go on an amazing vacation. And so I like to share a little bit about myself as well as the company slash group. So you feel more comfortable, about traveling with Lesbifriends. So I actually came up with the idea of Lesbifriends as a kind of like a meetup, a social event back in 2011. I had just got out of law school. I had no life in law school. I also just didn't like to go to like the clubs and be out, but I also was somewhat social, an introverted social person. I like being around small groups, if you will. And so I was just craving community. So I actually started a monthly get together in my then one bedroom co-op, and invited maybe like 5 or 6 people the first time. People had such a good time that it grew into, again, this monthly event, where people could connect, enjoy food, good company, play games, just like a really organic hangout evening. I didn't have a lot of friends in DC, because I had just came back here, from law school. I kind of just created the community that I wanted, by having this get together. After doing a probably like a year's worth of get-togethers, I decided to host a ski trip, a winter trip, a couple hours away from DC, and I rented a cabin. Everybody, maybe like 10 people came. Everybody kind of chipped in with cooking, and we had a really good time. And I noticed that there were like some significant bonds that were made on that trip, even though it was just like a long weekend trip. And so I was like, okay, there's something to this whole travel thing. Fast forward, I kept up the events, and I still do. Not monthly though, maybe like quarterly. And I still hosted an annual winter trip, and that has been probably like the most popular. I think that's also like a starter trip that people like to do because it's domestic, but also people get a good feel for the group and what kind of exchanges you're going to have on that in that type of environment. And anyway, fast forward to a couple of years ago, I was traveling a lot during COVID. A few people kept asking me, like, I want to travel too, take me on one of your international trips. But these are all personal. So I decided to branch out because I love my friends, but not all of them like to travel or have the means to travel. And I said, I'm gonna make Lesbifriends, which used to be Wine and Lesbifriends, the social outing. I'm gonna turn it into a travel group, because people want to travel. I love traveling. I'm pretty good at organizing, and planning. Yeah, I have like a spreadsheet for everything, a folder for everything as well. So that's how I started Lesbifriends Travel a couple of years ago, officially as a travel group, and community. I personally travel to over 50 countries. It's closer to 60 now. And so I feel like, as an avid traveler, I'm pretty well equipped to plan a trip for a group of people, especially like because energies attract. I just feel like most people who come on these trips are like-minded, have good energy, and an open mind, and again, are craving that connection and community. So that's a little bit about Lesbifriends Travel and how we came to be. Last year was our first time doing international trips. We went to both Toronto for Caravana, the Caribbean Festival, and we also rented out a whole resort, small boutique resort in the Dominican Republic called the Treehouse Village. And we actually stayed in tree houses for a week, and that was a really great experience as well, with over 25 people. This year we've done a few more international trips, and again, next year we are slated to do 12 international trips. Our trips range in size. Let me move to the next slide. Our trips range in size. I've had a trip with as little as 6 people and as many as 45 people. it just depends on the trip and where we're going. It's much easier to get 45 people to a ski trip than it is to foreign destination. But I'm hoping that as we grow, that we'll get there. And maybe have larger trips. Earlier this year in April, we had 20 people come to South Africa, which was a great experience. And I'd probably say on average size of the international trips are around 12 people. So it's still a smaller field, not too overwhelming, but you do get that. You get the safety of being with community in a foreign destination. So I have two screens, so sorry if I'm not always looking at the camera. I just want to make sure you don't think I'm looking off to the side too much. So I do want to share with you what's on the next screen, the next slide, and tell you what makes Lesbifriends travel a little bit different so you understand the experience that you're getting. There are other travel groups and they are all great, don't get me wrong. The travel group that I am sharing is the travel group that I want to be a part of. So the experience I create for others is what I would normally want for myself. So I do create LGBTQ plus centered itineraries. We don't have to be super gay everywhere we go, right? But I do make sure that the country that we're going to is safe. And if perhaps it's not legal, if like gay marriage is not legal, then I do make sure, or it might be more taboo in certain cultures. I do make sure that we are educated so that we know how to show up in those cultures and be respectful to that culture when we're visiting that country. But sometimes we might be hella gay and, go to we can do just clear tours, like we're doing that when we go to Brazil, we're visiting neighborhoods, when we go to Italy, where there's a whole day when we're gonna go on tours and see how art relates to the queer community and queer culture. So I try to throw in a little twist that we normally might not experience. Because that's who I am. I want to be gay everywhere. Also, we do offer roommate matching. Again, my friends aren't always up for a trip. So sometimes I have to just create those friendships, right? And also when you room with someone, it's a little bit cheaper than when you have your own room. I get it. I want my own room everywhere too. But also, that you just have that built-in connection. You get to save a few $100s and use that to towards souvenirs or whatever you want on that trip. So if you do sign up for a trip and you would prefer to have a roommate for some of those reasons, then I do a survey well ahead of time so that you can have a built-in friend on a trip potentially. This last trip that I went on to Portugal and Spain, we actually did roommate. I don't know if that's the right term, but we switched roommates. So there were 3 different hotels we stayed in. So people had an opportunity to room with different people and experience them. So that was also a good experience, people said, because they got to know people on the trip a little bit better. I also I love a list, so I give people packing lists curated to that destination and where we're going. Sometimes you just don't know, like if you're going to a temple, you need to bring a shawl or something to cover your head or your arms. So I make sure that, I'm doing all the research first and sharing that a well curated travel list with packing lists with people ahead of time so they can plan accordingly. I also do just as in general, I do event planning for the group. So we have local domestic events based in DC. Sorry, Lucera, you're gonna have to take a flight to come to one of the events, but it might be worth it. So there are events just for travelers who come to on trips. I do like an appreciation event annually. So if you come on a trip, you'll get invited to that. And then I also have trips that are open to everyone at least quarterly. I think this year I did like 6 or so events, from wellness, like sound bowl healing, and vision boarding, to like a Black Pride party, over Memorial Day weekend. There are events and you can meet people as well, but community is important. So I do like to keep up the events just as much as the trips. On the trips that you go on, you will also be able to meet the people ahead of time that you're traveling with through a virtual meet and greet. It depends on the trip, but at least 2 weeks out from the trip, so you'll get to see everyone who you're going on this trip with, make their acquaintance, learn more about them, get fired up about the destination. And then there is a pre-trip chat group that is started around the same time, so you can chat with each other, talk about packing lists, whatever you want. Encourage each other to pack ahead of time, because there are some people who pack the week before. And just get ideas of things you might want to do in your free time in the destination that you're going as well. The chat groups have been really good for that. And the chat group stays open so that people can stay connected after the trip that they go on. Some of them are more noisy than others, so I have to mute them because people like to talk every day. But after the trip, I mean. But it's a good way to, connect with people. And then last but not least, I do provide a travel guide for each of the destinations that we're going to, so that you can learn about the culture, the history, the weather, some cultural norms. I give restaurant recommendations, stuff like that. But all of those are what I, again, like to think are unique to Lesbifriends travel. It's not just, you're not just going on a trip, you're getting the support to go on a trip. I've even helped with flight bookings for people who it might be their first time traveling out of the country, or they just might want that extra support in booking their flight. I've even, had one-on-one calls to help people through that process. Okay. All right, now on to the fun part. So that's all the background stuff. I'm glad you know it. That's just what you get as part of the experience. But now let's get into some of these destinations that we're going to. So you can see if you want to sign up for a trip next year. Okay, so the first of the places that I'll present tonight is Nicaragua. Tiffany mentioned that they are interested in hearing about that. This is a fun trip to start with, because it's one of the first trips next year, only second to Brazil. And we're getting into the colder season. It's 0. You're probably not cold out there, or maybe you are, I don't know. California can be cold sometimes, but it's definitely getting chill outside of today. Today is really warm in DC, but it's definitely getting chilly out. So I just can't wait to go somewhere warm, be on a beach. Also Nicaragua, I don't know that that's like a super popular destination. I don't know many people who have been there. So I'm also just excited to like try someplace new that's, not on everybody's Instagram page. So we're going to Nicaragua from March 20th through the 25th. I decided on this destination in particular because I found a space owned and operated by 2 Black queer women. And I kind of fell in love with them and their story and what they were trying to provide to the community. And I was like, I want to create a retreat out of this. And so I worked with them to put together a wellness culturally immersive experience during the time that we're going to be there. So first, I like to just share a little bit about the accommodations and where we will be staying. I do have links to the space that we're staying on the actual website on Lesbifriends Travel on the Nicaragua page. So if you wanted to take a closer look and see, you're welcome to as well. And you can easily find the link there. So the accommodations are really beautiful. We are staying in 2 guest houses that are like a 2-minute walk from one another. This is essentially like a boutique hotel, right? Because we'll have the space all to ourselves. Both spaces have their own pool, and really beautiful, beautiful bedrooms with nice accommodations. They will be making all of our breakfasts on site. And we will hopefully be dining out for other meals, but they even offer, other meals, ordered a la carte and snacks and, just all the things you would want, comforting things you could get at home. They offer that right on site, so you don't have to worry about anything while you're there. So outside of where we're staying, the accommodations, which is like a big part of a trip, we need to know what we're doing. And so happy to share with you I think it's 6-day itinerary. So when we arrive to Nicaragua, we will be greeted at the airport, and so transportation once you get there is included. You just have to get yourself there. So you'll be greeted at the airport, and once everyone gets settled into their respective rooms, we will do a welcome tour, and start off our retreat with a sacred cacao ceremony and do some intention setting. And then we will also have a welcome dinner where we'll get to meet everyone and play some games and do some icebreakers. So everybody can get warmed up. It's the first night. I don't like people to just like hide on their own the first night, even though you might be tired from traveling. I'm gonna kind of make you socialize. Sorry, not sorry. On day 2, after a delicious breakfast on site, we will go on a day trip to Apoyo Lagoon. And we'll spend the day on the water and getting a cultural tour and learning about the history of the area as well. There are some optional add-ons that I do kind of vet ahead of time. So, on this specific one, I know not everybody might be a water person or might not want to go in the water. So I don't automatically include this. But for those more adventurous souls who want to partake, you can try a scuba lesson while we're on that excursion. On day 3, after another delicious breakfast, we'll do another day trip. So we'll get to enjoy the accommodations, but we'll also just get to experience Nicaragua and all that it has to offer. And so that day trip is going to be to an area called Granada. We'll learn about the architecture, and then we'll go for a boat ride. And then we will round off the day. We'll probably also have dinner by the water as a group. And then we'll round off the day back at Apogeo, excuse me, for sunset yoga, and probably some, just group bonding time as well. But stuff like that just happens organically. So on day 4, we are going to do a deep stretch class by the pool. Get our bodies moving. Sometimes I like to build in, nothing is going to be super strenuous because I don't really want to exercise on vacation, but because sometimes retreats can be wellness retreats, especially can be spiritual for people. I do like to have a portion of body movement, so that is offered. I also would like to say that nothing on the itinerary is mandatory, but I do like to encourage people to show up and try everything. I'm trying not to start things too early in the morning, so there will be an opportunity to sleep in. And we're on an island, so there's island time. People just like to flow. But yes, this is a good mix of some relaxation, some internal wellness, as well as some cultural exploration. So after we get all stretched out, we're gonna go on a catamaran boat ride. I'd like to mention the second day when we're at the lagoon, we're not in the water or in the boat. So I know this is a lot of watering, but are going to an area with a lot of water. But yes, we'll do the half day catamaran ride. That we'll probably make it into our own party as well. Because who doesn't like to turn up on a mini yacht? And then day 5, we'll get back into the wellness and we'll do some writing with our morning pages workshop. We'll have again a really good breakfast. They speak highly of their food, so I'm excited to experience that. And then you kind of just have the day to do it with it as you will. There are at on property massages that you can schedule. You can also do a body surf lesson, or even I have a volcano tour that is pretty popular. Well, the hosts of Apogeo, they recommended it. They say they like all of their guests to experience that because they really learn a lot about the land of Nicaragua by doing that. We will have a farewell dinner because unfortunately all things have to come to an end. And then the morning of departure, we will say our farewells after breakfast and get transferred to the airport. Okay. Outside of what's on the itinerary, I do just like to share, overall what's included so you understand. So airport pickup, of course, the accommodations, breakfast, the welcome and farewell dinners, all transportation, every activity that's on the itinerary that's not an optional add-on is included in what you get. You get a cool swag bag. That's kind of one of my favorite things to put together for each trip as well. And then of course that travel guide, and you get an on-the-ground travel team to experience this with, so that things go seamlessly. What's not included, you just have to get yourself there. So the flight is not included. I always recommend, well, no, I require travel insurance, so I don't check, but I do like to definitely hone in that you should have travel insurance, whether it's included through your credit card or whatever bank card you book through, or you pay, you buy it separately. I always offer a free quote with a company that I use personally and I feel comfortable with. But yes, travel insurance is not included, and is a must. I had someone tell me a week before the Bali trip that they spent $3,000 to go on, that they were not able to go on the trip. Unfortunately, they had a death in their family, which would have been covered with travel insurance. They did not buy travel insurance with me. I hope that they were able to salvage something, but we'll figure that out. But anyway, I say get travel insurance because I've had personal experience myself, and I've known others to have experience because of medical issues or whatever, which is typically covered with travel insurance. Anyway, enough about travel insurance. Most places don't require vaccines, especially coming from the US, but sometimes they do. I try to share all that ahead of time. But those would not be covered, meals not mentioned, and all that extras. Also, I don't tip for you, and I do encourage people to tip generously because we are blessed to be able to travel, and so giving back is nice. So I do just like to mention and encourage people to, budget for tips, even if it's just $1. All right, let's get into the cost because that's kind of important. So our trip to Nicaragua, this is probably like one of the most budget-friendly trips so far because it's a shorter trip, but also a closer destination. It's not as expensive as going to South Africa or Italy. So I'm excited about the price too. So the starting price for a double occupancy is $1,650. I had options for double occupancy with 2 beds in the room, but those have all been claimed. So now there's just 1 bed in a room for double occupancy purposes. I completely understand if that's not your jam, especially if you're asking to be matched with a roommate. But I've also matched people with roommates on like winter trips, the cabin trips where they've had to share a bed and there's never been a problem. But I get it. If that is not your jam and you still want to go on this trip, then the single occupancy option would probably be best for you. Because it would be just you with your own room and your own bed. Oh, I wasn't supposed to share that yet, but anyway, I'm happy to share this. I was gonna share this at the end. And I'll reshare this. But I am having a fall promotion, so fall trips for the month of November. If you register for a trip, and all trips deposits are only $100, except the cruise. I have to charge you what the cruise charges me, because I literally am paying them what they, what they want to book their room. So it's $300 off. You would, if you put in this, and then the 300 gets distributed, taken off your full trip price, and you would just have to pay the $100 deposit, for that. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that I can take a break from talking. And also just ask if, are there any questions about Nicaragua? I know that, I believe Tiffany is the person who is interested in Nicaragua, and I will get to your question in a second, Tiffany. But specifically about Nicaragua, are there any questions about what I've shared or something I've left out that you just want to know? And if not, that's okay. If you don't have questions, that's okay too. Maybe I'm doing my job. Okay, I'm good with that too. So Tiffany asked in the group chat, thank you, Tiffany. Okay, are the trips more for single folks or couples? The trips, honestly, it depends, right? It depends on the trip. I know that's a really bad answer. I could tell you more so based on each trip. Just came back from Portugal and Spain. Everybody on that trip came as a solo traveler, and everybody on that trip was single. It wasn't a big group, but single and solo traveler. I just had an information virtual meet and greet for the Belize trip, which is in next month. There are 10 people coming on that trip so far. There's room for 2 more. And there were 2 couples out of the 10. The Atlanta trip back in August, September, it wasn't a single trip, but there were 20 people who came on that trip who were all single. And some people come with friends. I will say that most recently there are mostly solo travelers that come on trips, because the trips don't make it out the group chat, as they say. I don't know, I'm not that hip, so I don't really know what they say, but I've seen them humor too. So I welcome friends, you just bring a friend, of course, if you do bring a friend, and they've never been on a Lesbifriends trip, and they tell me you referred them, then you get, a little bonus for inviting them. But there are, solo travelers are equally as welcome. Everybody's welcome. All right. Ooh, I love all the questions. One more thing I will say probably more single and solo travelers or friend travelers over couples. And I'm not promising this, and it's only happened twice, but there have been 2 married couples that have come out of a Lesbifriends trip. Like they met while they were on the trip for the first time, and they connected, and then they got married. That's, again, I'm not promising that, but it could happen. So yeah. Okay. Kiana asked, if you choose double occupancy, but you have a roommate in mind, can you add that person later? Yes. I'm super flexible. This is my company. I can do what I want. So you can book, as someone who wants a roommate and not have the roommate like planned or yet. You would just I don't do the roommate matching until closer to the trip. So if it's a month from the trip and you put that you were gonna have a roommate and your friend just didn't decide to come, then I do have to match you with someone unless you want to upgrade to a, not upgrade, but you know, change to a single occupancy. I also have someone who just booked the Cabo trip, who they booked it as a single occupancy because they don't know if they're gonna get their friend to come on the trip or their partner, I think they said. I'm, if they did end up bringing someone, I could change that to a double occupancy and, you know, prorate that amount as well. So no, I mean, a month before the trip has to be paid. So I would say that's the deadline for adding someone as a roommate. And that's when I typically do the roommate matching. Okay, hope I answered that question thoroughly, Kiana. Let me know if not. Okay, or you have a follow-up question. Okay, the next place that I'm going to share is, I'm trying to go in order. So Tiffany wanted Nicaragua and the cruise. Deanna wanted Japan, South Africa, and glamping. Let's go to, I'm going to go a little out of order. We're going to go to the glamping one. I'll share that with you. Then we'll go to the cruise. And then hopefully maybe Lucero will add something for us to present. So you can get your fill too. So hopefully you're just getting any. Okay, bear with me, page loading. Sorry, lots of moving parts. All right. All right. So we're going glamping. So it's kind of bittersweet to share this trip next because I actually planned this trip initially as a winter trip. It was going to be over MLK weekend. I like to plan trips when there is a holiday because, you know, built-in day off, you know, don't have to take an extra day off. So I literally booked out this whole resort, glamping resort, for MLK weekend. And then our vice president announced that she was running. And I was like, well, we have to show up for her at the inauguration when she wins. And yeah, such is life. So I don't care about the inauguration anymore. But I'm still glad that this ended up being a summer glamping trip. I know being outdoors is just rough during the colder months in general, even though we are not technically outdoors because we're glamping. Yes, anyway, I'm still excited because we're doing this in the summertime, so we'll get to enjoy nature even more on this trip. So this trip, I mentioned I had an annual winter trip. I'm not doing that next year because this was going to be it. So this might be the new annual thing, domestic trip that we take. I'm very excited about this space because I actually went to a yoga retreat there over a weekend earlier this year. I think it was January or February, like really impromptu, like signed up like the week of the yoga retreat or something, got canceled last minute. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. There was a reason I was supposed to be in River Mountain because I was supposed to see this amazing space, eat the delicious farm to table food, and come up with this idea for a Lesbifriends trip. So I'm taking everybody on the ride with me. So we are going glamping in July, now not January, and it's a long weekend that we're gonna spend there. I don't have my calendar up anymore, but I think it's a Thursday. It might be Friday or Saturday. That's Friday. Anyway, forgive me. But we're going for 3 nights, 4 days to River Mountain. I rented out the whole resort. Fingers crossed, I fill it because up to 80 people can actually be here. I'm saying 60, but really you can squeeze in some more if you need to. The space is beautiful. There's so much history and culture. We're gonna do some outdoor stuff. We're gonna do some indoor stuff. We're gonna eat a lot of amazing food. You can more about the accommodation. So you can see in the pictures, some of these pictures and videos. These are actually where we're going to be staying. The majority of the people are going to be staying. They have glamping pods, so it's kind of like a dormitory feel, kind of sort of. There is privacy because you have your own sleeping pod with a what is it? Like kind of a locker instead of a dresser. It's kind of a locker you can lock up. Though I've never had an issue on a trip. People are, again, great energy, good people. Nobody's ever stolen or caused anybody any issues. But you do have your own pod. If you pick the upper pod, you get like a moon roof or a sun roof to wake up with and look at the stars at night. I didn't feel like climbing the ladder, so I just stayed on the lower pod when I went before. But I feel like this time I would make my way up those that way. It might be worth it. And then there's a curtain that you can. So each of the cabins, there are 4 of them, are gonna have themes. So there's gonna be like a turn-up cabin. There might be like a quiet, chill cabin or a zen cabin. I might even make a couples cabin. So that you can be with like-minded people even in this pod situation. There's also yurts, those round structures. That's kind of like a big old tent, but a little bit more infrastructure than a tent. And then there actually are tents. So you have all the options for all of those things. Whatever suits your needs best. There are bathrooms, running water, so we're not roughing it. I'm not a camper. This is the closest I'm going to get to sleeping outdoors. So what is this 4-day experience with hopefully 80 clear people going to be like? Amazing. But let's get into the specifics. So you check in you register. Well, no, you check in. You check in. Of course, your location will be pre-designated, but someone will be around to show you where you're going to get settled. We'll do a welcome circle and an orientation just to get people familiar with the space. It's not a huge space, so it's easy to navigate. You're not going to be walking miles. I don't even know roughly a mile. Well, it's kind of big, so maybe. We're going to do a community dinner. Again, all their food is amazing. It's farm to table. All of your dietary preferences will be met. They even put like your specific name on your dinner if you have any, they put that in there. We're gonna probably start off with like something like campfire storytelling and s'mores the first night. And then for those who want to get their yoga and meditation on, you can do some evening experience. I probably will be turning up with some wine at the fire pit later on. But I want everybody to get their fill. Day 2, we're gonna do we're always gonna offer yoga. It has a really cool space for yoga. So we have to use this kind of like what is it called? A greenhouse, but for people. It's beautiful, like all glass. So we're gonna get our yoga on for people who want to wake up and go stretch it out before breakfast. Then we'll do some. I don't know exactly if this will be the order, but we'll have workshops both in the morning and in the afternoon for people to experience. So I feel like morning is a good time to be mindful and all that good stuff. All the meals on this trip are included, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They even have a snack hour and a happy hour. How cool is that? All included. And they have non-alcoholic beverages for people who want. We'll do some sort of creative expression workshop. I'm actually working on like getting my workshop leaders. So if you have a workshop in mind, if you want to lead some people for a discounted rate, we can talk. But I'm in the process of gathering that, which will be shared well ahead of the trip. But I'm always for like working with the community, so I'd rather use people in the community, than bring outside people. And a bonus, you could just be there for the entire weekend. We'll do an outdoor games. We'll do some outdoor games. I want to have like a whole field day, so that will take up a good chunk of the time as well for those of us who are competitive. Well, that social happy hour that I mentioned before having dinner, and we're going to do a glow in the dark dance party in this cool barn area that they have. It's more than a barn. It's like they have weddings in it too, so it's really nice. But we're gonna have a glow in the dark party that second full day that we're there. Another day of workshops, good eating, and some outdoor time. I don't know if I mentioned this on the previous page, but we're going to do a nature hike as well. This is actually the field day that we did in our Virginia trip over the summer. That was a lot of fun. People get really competitive. And then we're going to round it off and say our goodbyes to our forever friends and maybe our new travel buddies on day 4 before we head out. Okay. I'm going to skip this next page because you kind of got the gist of it from the last tip that I shared. But on to the pricing, because that's kind of important. So that $300 fall discount applies to all of the international trips except the cruise. And unfortunately, it does not apply to this trip, but it's priced really good. This is pretty much what, yes, it's priced really good for what you're getting. And this is pretty much what the space charges. So promise you're going to get your money's worth. It will start, prices start at $850 for those pods that I mentioned. Then if you want to do a yurt or a tent, it does cost a little more. Comes with more privacy because there's only 2 beds in each of those spaces. So you can have, the space to yourself, and you can just be with one other person. They can have a queen bed, you can have a queen bed. And you also get your own bathroom with a yurt in a tent, whereas in the pods, it's a shared bathroom. So that's, again, why the price is a little bit more. Those are the only pages I'm going to share because okay. Because the other pages are just the same as the one I already shared on the okay, so that is I'm calling it the summer glam. So that's our glamping trip. A chance to connect with 60 plus queer people of color. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's like going to summer camp, right, for adults in a holiday environment. We'll probably have some theme nights in there, so I'll make you dress up like in your pride colors or something like that. And we'll do awards because who doesn't want like a spirit award and all that jazz too. Any questions about the summer glam? Okay. Let me know if you think of any later. All right, I'm gonna take this opportunity to learn more about you. Had my document up and then it disappeared. Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question or two so I can learn more about you and your travel style, right? So I have 2 questions. The first is, what is the best souvenir that you've ever brought home from a trip? And then, because again, my mind is always thinking of that next trip, the next set of trips. Where is someplace maybe not on the destination list so far, that you think would be a good addition for a Lesbifriends trip. This could be somewhere that you've already been and would potentially want to experience again. Or someplace you've never been and just selfishly want to go to. So yeah, please share. All right, I'll go first. Because I have to lead by example, right? All right. Best souvenir I've ever brought home on a trip, brought home from a trip. I probably should have thought of this before I volunteered. Oh, Tiffany, art is such a great, yeah, that's a great souvenir. I've collected some art, but I can't steal your idea. You're gonna bring art for someone else? Oh my gosh, that is so generous of you. I want to be your friend. I don't really buy souvenirs for people anymore. I feel like the best souvenir I can give you is advice on where to go when you travel to that country. I'm gonna say I recently went to Bali and it's not a souvenir per se, but I did a cooking class and I think cooking classes are like my go-tos now on trips. So I learned a skill, if you will. Like I know how to cook, but I learned the recipe. I actually recreated it when I got home. But part of the cooking class, they actually did give us souvenirs. They gave us what are those called? Aprons. They gave us aprons and something to set, like a little kitchen ornament, if you will. I don't know if it's that useful for me, but I will say that I've used that apron and I've made that recipe. So that was probably one of my favorite souvenirs, the cooking class recipe experience, if you will. And then someplace I want to go outside of where I've already mentioned, Vietnam. I've been there 20 years ago. Still one of my top 3 countries. And I would definitely say whether it's on a Lesbifriends trip or just personally, I feel like it's like a hidden gem that's not popular or sexy that I think people should experience. The people are nice, the food is delicious. You can eat like a friggin' queen for $5 a day. $5. All your meals, like 5-star. It's amazing. And the people are really generous and welcoming. And if you're short like me, I'm not that short, I'm 5'3", but you'll feel like a giant and the tallest person in the world because you can be taller than everybody in Vietnam. Okay, that's all I got. Tiana, Lucero, would you like to share?
So I'm not a big souvenir person. I usually don't think to get something to commemorate like my travels, but I recently went to St. Louis, Missouri, and to visit a friend, and we went to a Pride event there, and I got a mug that says "Queer Agenda: Love myself fiercely, love who I want fully, live my life entirely freely."
That and it's like a useful souvenir, like because you'll use it often, hopefully, you know.
Yes, I love a good mug.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love the message. That's so, yeah, I need to find that mug.
And a place that I would want to go, probably the Philippines.
Nice. Great choice. I've heard good things about that too. Yeah, on my list. Thank you for sharing that. And Tiffany also shared Thailand or Japan. So, well, Japan's on the list, Tiffany. You can come with us. And Thailand, I'm literally leaving on Friday for a Lesbifriends trip. But if it's a great trip, like I'm thinking it is gonna be, I might run it back. So, okay, Lucero went to Santa Marta, Colombia. Ooh, I've never heard of Santa Marta. I'm gonna have to Google it. I do like Colombia, and a hand woven bag. Oh, I love a good bag. I mean, and it's a great conversation piece, I'm sure. I feel like Colombians really know how to make nice bags because I also have gotten a nice Colombian bag, even though it was locally at a festival, but I always get compliments on that bag. So I think bags are what Colombians do very well. Make good, good bags. And do you have a place that you'd want to go? Or is that the place that you're recommending?
Yeah, I think the places I would like to go, you already have on your agenda to go to, so I think you got them all covered.
Oh, thank you. That warms my heart. I feel like I kind of played it safe, not too safe, but I feel like when I do these information sessions, and I've been doing them for like a year and change, I literally ask people where they want to go, where they would stay away from, stuff like that. And so I compile them. And so I compile a list. And so based on what people are sharing, that's how I came up with this next year's list of places. So I'm kind of playing it safe. I think I'm gonna like be crazy. And I mean, we're not going to Russia or anything, but I think in 2026, there are going to be like some places that people, aren't necessarily thinking about going, but I want to still provide a safe space for people to travel and, experience things they might not experience. So I think, yeah, there's going to be some places, some interesting places on that. Okay, let me pull up the cruise. And then I'll go very quickly through this. I know I can be long-winded. Um, so yes, so I'm gonna pull up the cruise. For this one in particular, I'm using an old layout. Sorry, I just revamped and did like rebranding or tried to like rebrand my information sessions. So you'll notice that this one is looks a little bit different, but same bones, if you will. Sorry, my screen view. Okay, this trip is a little, you see someone else's name on and face on the screen. So I've been on several cruises. I actually went on Semester at Sea, which is a 100-day study abroad program on a ship. So I've been on ships, right? But I've never planned a cruise trip for people, right? Like for a group. So I actually partnered with Janice, who I've known for like 10 plus years. She has her own travel company and she's a travel advisor, and she actually plans a lot of cruises for people. So, and she's been on a few Virgin Voyages cruises. So I was like, let me go to the expert. And we're collaborating. And so we're co-hosting this experience together to take people on a Caribbean cruise to with Virgin Voyages. So that's a little bit about Janice. Again, I'm going to skip a couple of these slides. I've never been on a Virgin cruise. Hopefully this will be one of many that I go on. I'm so excited because I feel like I've been stalking Virgin for a while. There's just never enough time. But I even went through like Virgin University to get trained, not Virgin University, I forget what they call it, but I'm a travel advisor too, right? So I have the credentials so I can do the booking and get the best prices. So I went through their university, which is like 20 hours of learning their ships and their offerings, and it's amazing all that they have. And I mean, I've been on Carnival and Royal Caribbean and Princess Cruise Lines, and I mean, they're all great, but I mean, I feel like this is top tier. And so I'm very excited about one, the Virgin Voyages, in particular, the cruise line, but also the destinations we're going to on this cruise are going to be a lot of fun. Who doesn't like a Caribbean experience? So most of the rooms are bigger than typical cruise ship rooms. And I can't afford the Rockstar room, but they do have a lot of offerings. I'm just gonna get the basic one, which we'll get to in a minute, but the cruise is gonna be amazing. Hopefully people won't spend time in their room that much, but just so you know, the room is very spacious, the bathroom is elevated. Outside of, you know, your room, the dining experience is just different than on a regular cruise. So outside of, they don't really believe in buffets, I guess. I mean, I love a buffet, but I get it. They're not maybe as sanitary potentially because of the nature of cruises. So they actually have made to order restaurants where you can, and cafes where you can, get food throughout your, time on the ship. Which I think is even better, right? Because if I want my steak bloody, then they'll make it that way, right? Okay, sorry. I digress. Okay, they have state-of-the-art fitness facilities. I can't say I'm going to be working out, but I have seen some like really cool like Zumba classes that I probably would want to join in because they're more like dancing and they look like a lot of fun. They have really great entertainment. Like, I mean, this isn't like a Disney cruise. Like, you're not going to be like, I don't know. I feel like it's some, like, you know, they're kind of cheesy on some cruise lines. These are like, you know, professional dancers and singers and musicians. And so I've watched plenty of videos. They really put on a show. So that's all included, as is everything on a cruise. Except the alcohol package. You got to pay a little bit extra for that. They have nightclubs, like they have all the like highest tech pools and lounging areas. And they even have a tattoo parlor on board. Like, that's crazy. I probably won't be getting a tattoo, but who can say who doesn't want to say they got a tattoo on a ship? Okay, now again, different version, but same content. Okay, so on the cruise, we're gonna have plenty of together time, but then there's just gonna be some built-in free time where you can flow. So when we arrive, of course, everybody will get checked in. Boarding a cruise can be complicated. So we will make sure we have a meeting point and we'll all have a welcome dinner together, and do something fun like set trip intentions. Day 2, we're gonna be at sea all day. So we're gonna probably do some sort of scavenger hunt to explore the ship, get to know it better, but also just spend time with one another. Because the itinerary for the cruise has not been shared with me yet, I can't like say we're gonna go see this show together at this time, but there will be shows that we see together, in the natural progression of things, and they will be shared closer to the trip date. All of the breakfasts, like I did mention, and meals are gourmet. They have like 5-star restaurants on board, so probably that's outside of the entertainment and the peopling. I'm also just really excited about the food. And then we get to actually get off of the ship on day 3, and when we head to Dominican Republic. I love the Dominican Republic. I could live there. I just don't speak Spanish fluently, so I'd have to learn that. But it's a really great place to stop. And Virgin, if you do decide, you can explore it while we're in the country on your own, but Virgin Voyages also offers excursions that you can pay for that are all, they aren't like when you come off a cruise ship, like the massive ones. They're like, they cap them to like 10, 15 people. You're getting to be immersed in the local culture in the short amount of time that you're in the country, but you can really get a good feel for a place even on these day-long excursions. And I really appreciate Virgin because they pay the people who are leading them what they should be paid, and they really vet the experience ahead of time. Day 4, we'll have another day at sea, doing all the things, all the entertainment. I plan on this is when I'll make it to that fun Zumba class. I'll be at the club at night too. But yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It's a good mix of I feel like a cruise has something for everybody, so you can make it what you want it to be. Day 5, we actually get to make another stop at in the Bahamas. You can either explore on your own in the Bahamas, or you can go to this beach club that Virgin Voyages owns, and just relax by the beach and have some drinks and have some food. You don't even have to leave the port if you don't want to. I've been to the Bahamas like 5 times. I probably would just stay at the beach club in the Benin, because I've heard and seen really good things about it, and I probably will just want to be at a beach and off the ship for a few hours. Then unfortunately we'll have to say our goodbyes. We'll skip this and we will go to the prices. These prices fluctuate, literally. Cruise prices change just like airfare. So I can't promise you that these prices will be the same tomorrow. But for now, this is what they start at. And so an insider cabin, and they actually have lock-in rates, which are a little bit lower. You don't get to necessarily pick your specific location of your cabin, but you'll save a couple $100 and they'll at least give you that type of cabin. But anyway, this is what the starting point is at. The deposit, again, only for the cruise, because I literally am charging people what the cruise charges, right? You're just booking through me, and then I facilitate all, I just make it so you don't have to deal with any of the registration, and I communicate all the things to you and on your behalf to the cruise ship. So you would pay 20% of whatever that is. I'm sorry, there is a little bit of a typo. The room options are not per person, they're per cabin. So if you do book like an insider cabin, which allows for 2-person occupancy, you'd be splitting that with someone else, unless you wanted your own cabin. Unfortunately, you can't get a cheaper price if you want the cabin to yourself. That's just how Virgin works. So you're paying for the cabin, and you can have up to 2 people in that cabin. You can actually have up to 3 people and even 4 and 5 people in certain cabins, but I wouldn't recommend it. It would be very tight. So again, the $32.92 would be split between 2 people. These payment plans are based on, after you pay the 20%, and then what that cost would be monthly or biweekly. I'm super flexible with payments. I just, essentially I need the trip to be paid off, right, before you go on it. And there does need to be some payment plan, but if I have people like, hey, I can't make the payment this month, can I catch up next month? Absolutely, just communicate that with me and I'm fine, doing that. It's just when people like stop telling me stuff, I'm like, are you still coming on the trip? Because I'm still making payments for you, to the vendors that I work with. So, but I can be flexible with payment plans. Also, if you do decide to do like one lump sum payment. Again, this doesn't apply to the cruise. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have started this year, but because I'm thinking about it. If you're like, I definitely want to go on this trip, I'm signing up, like I already asked for the time off. I do offer a 10% discount for payments in full upon booking. So, I mean, the fall special, you're going to save probably the same amount of money, because some of these trips are around $3,000. But like for the Europe trips, which are a little bit more, or the South Africa trip, which is a luxury trip, which might be like $4,000, like you might save $400+ dollars. So, okay. I'm going to pause, take a breath, and ask if there are any questions about the cruise. Unfortunately, I can't combine the promos. If you paid in full and wanted to use if you paid in full and wanted to use the fall promo, I could probably knock an additional $100 off, but at some point I start losing money, like what it costs me to pay to get you there. So I can't take too much off, but I can honor an additional $100 off if you did do, if you wanted to pay in full and do the fall promo. And then, oh, I like your biggest priority. Food is my priority too. So we're on the same page, Kiana, when it comes to that. Okay. Yeah, the cruise is like a unique situation. So sorry for all the nuances with, the payments and what have you, but I do just want to be upfront and share that. Okay, I think I'll just present one more place if you don't mind, because I don't want to like take up everybody, I don't want to go over. I am very sorry. I probably over promised Kiana, but I don't have Japan and South Africa ready because I just announced those trips. And so I really wasn't going to start presenting them probably until the end of this month. So if you come back for that info session, or if you just sign up and don't make it, I can still email you the recorded session. So, you can hear me sharing more information about those trips. But if there is another place you guys are interested, I'm happy to share it, tonight. I'd say, is there one, I'm excited for all the trips, but is there one that I'm very excited about? Well, it's just you and me, Kiana. We lost Tiffany, but it's getting
Maybe
like that.
Morocco.
Huh?
Maybe do you have Morocco?
I do have Morocco. That's I think that's gonna be one of my favorite ones too. Do have Morocco. What do you think of it? Sorry. No, you're not holding me hostage. I literally have, so I try to go in order. I literally have everything except South Africa, Japan, and Morocco, because I just announced that one too. I'm sorry.
No worries at all.
Okay. But maybe that just means you'll come back for another information session. But yeah, thank you for letting me share a lot of information with you tonight. I do have, of course, there's a lot of stuff on the website, but it's a lot of reading, and it's just kind of nice to have a personable touch. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, even if you think of them later about any of the trips. I promise I'll have the other last ones created, presentation slides created for those last 3 trips. I'm just playing catch up in between traveling and, working my full-time job and doing this, on the side. So, yeah. But it's a good group of people overall. I think that's why I do it for the people. Like, I always meet really, really dope souls. And I love seeing people continue to connect even outside of the trips. But it's of course just like a bonus to get to travel, like, right, with queer, like-minded people who, you might not have the exact same experience, but I love my best friends, don't get me wrong, but like I don't want to go to I don't want to go to clubs for every place that I travel with them. And I feel like, it's just different when you get to travel with people who, might be aligned with you in that way. Anyway, welcome to the community. I hope to see you on a future trip, at an event, in the new year, all that jazz.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the information. Your answers were very thorough.
Oh, my pleasure. And I will send an email tomorrow with the recording and just also that promo, just in case, more information about that.
All right. It sounds good. Thank you so much. You have a good
Okay.
rest of your night.
You too. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.